What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to be putting a Vtec cam in the Y7 head, locking Vtec in. So technically it will still be a non-Vtec because there won't be a Vtec crossover, because as you see, no solenoid on the Y7. It will also give it a pretty cool lopey sound because the Vtec cam is a much bigger profile than the low side. So it'll give it more power, more airflow, and it'll be pretty cool. So went to Budget Wrench Apart, got a rocker assembly, got the necessary stuff I needed to be able to lock Vtec in, which I'll show you. You can use all OEM components to do this. This is just a Y8 Vtec cam. It actually looks like it's in really good shape. The engine it came out of was in really good shape. The oil still looked fresh, but everything's here. It's all good. We are going to clean all this up, disassemble it, and I'll show you how to lock Vtec in. And we're gonna let that cool down. While we're letting that cool down, so we're gonna take this inside, we're gonna clean it up, then we'll disassemble it, and then I can go over all those details. But before that, I wanna take you guys for a ride in a pretty cool Volvo. So let's go do it.
Broken child locks.
I was like, I can't get out.
My bad.
Yeah, this thing's pretty.
No one can get out the back.
This thing's pretty awesome.
Once you're in, you're in.
You want to pop the hood?
Yeah.
I know it's not Honda related, but you know, it's still pretty cool, and who knows, maybe one day I can put my car up against it and then it would be Honda related. Thing's pretty sweet. 5 cylinders. It's so crazy. It pulls really well, especially for its weight. I'm impressed. But now I'm gonna get back to work. So in order to lock Vtec in, they make these things right here that you can buy off of eBay. They're like $60 to $100. You can get these absolutely free or really cheap if you have a spare head, or go to the salvage yard and pick these up. I'll show you where these come from here in just a minute, but basically you'll need 2 of these longer ones. And yeah, I'll just show you real quick. So we're gonna remove all these bolts. Now we're going to remove this piece right here, and once you do that, this thing holds everything in place. There will be a couple things that fall out. Yeah, those right there are called lost motion assemblies. We're going to actually remove those completely for this. Now, if you have Vtec in your car and it's not locked in place, don't remove those, because you need those things. They're actually spring-loaded, as you can see, and some very loud, ticky Hondas that have good valve lash, these, when they go bad, they're really annoying and they sound like a tick or like a slight tapping noise. But we're just going to remove them because we won't need them for this setup. Once Vtec is engaged, it'll lock it in like this. Right now, the way it would go is these 2 would move and ride on the lower cam profile, and then whenever you get to a certain oil pressure, RPM, there's a bunch of factors in Vtec, it pressure locks these in place, and then they ride on the larger lobe, and that's basically how Vtec works. It's really simple design, but we're going to lock it in place, and since I have no Vtec solenoid, this will allow me to run a Vtec cam in a non-Vtec head. Everyone always is wondering, why don't you just swap to a Y8 head? Well, the first reason is because I just don't want to. Second reason is I love the Y7 heads. They're highly underestimated. They flow really well, and I mean, I've proven that they work well, and you see my videos. The biggest limiting factor is the stock Y7 cams just don't have enough lobe. I could get a Delta 272 cam grind for the Y7, but this is way cheaper. This total cost me $30. Since I already had these from a previous Y8 head, these were absolutely free, but I'll show you exactly where they come from. So we're going to remove this. Now, if you screw up and you don't remember where all this goes, you can either A, take a picture beforehand, or B, they make exploded diagrams of this online that you can just go to Google Images. All right, so right now we've got those other pieces off. we'll just slide all three of these off together like this. Let me shove my finger in here. Now this is pretty much how it rides on the shaft, like that. When Vtec engages, it will lock these little pins right here in, using oil pressure to do so. As you can see, that other one just shoves over a little bit, and that would lock it all of them in place. So basically, if we take this middle one, all right, so we have them like this. Now this middle one right here, that one is one of these long ones that I have over here. As you can see, they're the same size. Now if we go to these little rockers here, we can pop these ones out here. Let me show you. And we can compare them. One is definitely smaller than the other. So basically, you want to get all the small ones out. You'll have the big one that goes in the big middle one there. But as you can see, if we push this out, it sticks out a little ways. Now that there's nothing in this one at all, that will slide right on there like this. So that's one piece pretty much down. Now we have this other piece right here, which you will have to pop out. All right, so this piece right here, you will have to pop out. I just used like an Allen wrench or something, and then tap it. All right, so I had some issues trying to get it out, but I will show you the method that I used. I even got a boo-boo on the way. But anyways, both sides now have the long pins. Now you could just buy the long Vtec pins for 90 bucks, throw them in and be done with this. But getting that little, the one right here that had a circle, a little hole in it, that's spring loaded. That spring is hard to get out. I had to end up drilling this side. You see, that's much bigger than what we started with. I had to drill that side bigger and get something in there to knock it out, and I actually had to mount it to the vise. But we got it done, didn't damage it or anything, and now Vtec is locked in place. So once this goes back on the rod, these will all move together, and it'll be permanently locked in place, riding on the Vtec lobe, and it'll work great. So now that we've got this done, I'm going to show you how I did it, but there may be another method that works better. Most likely a press. If you had a press, I could see this being super simple, but I don't have a press right now. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did it on the one, and then I'll do it to the rest of them and get all these Vtec locked in. You can see how small the hole is right there. If you could find something like a punch or something to fit in there and knock this out in one clean blow, or maybe multiple, that'd be great. But it didn't work like that with the other one, so I'm going to show you how I did it. We're going to try to knock it out first, and if that doesn't work, then we'll go from there. Alright, so I found an old drill bit that's broke off. I'm going to try to use that. It fits perfectly in the hole, so I'm going to go ahead and smash it and see if we can get it to pop out. Alright, well, it did pop out. The spring took off flying. I don't know where, or I'd show you that part. Now, that part came out, but there's still a little race in there. It's a little, it looks like a bearing almost. There's a spring behind that as well. That part's the hardest part to get out. So what I ended up doing with the other one was widening this hole out a little bit bigger, and as you can see, we punched it out with this. It's just a flat head, but it had just the right size to fit through there and knock it right out of there. So that's what we're going to do with this one, since the method worked so well. I'm basically just going to drill that hole to where this thing fits in there, and then we'll knock it out. As you can see, the little piece came right out. So now this one's ready for the Vtec locker. And as you can see, it's not damaged in any way. One of the things you do need to inspect is right here. These ones look like they're in really good shape on all of them, but it's important to inspect those. But now that you got this piece right here, it's not going to go in very well, so you will have to tap it in with the hammer. Now it's in there for good. We can put all these together. So I'm going to finish the other ones up, and then I will show you with it all reassembled. Alright, so as for the reassembly, this is the best method I've found, is to put these bolts in right here to kind of hold everything in place, because this does spin. Now it won't spin. We're just going to do that all the way through. And if you look right here, they're actually numbered. This is 5, 4, and obviously 3, 2, and then 1. But yeah, let me get this like this real quick. This will help stabilize everything. All right, so as for assembling this, we want to put the rockers for the exhaust side on first, one at a time. You can see there's these little arrows, sort of, or notches. Those will be on the outside edges. So there's a notch right here and a notch right there. That's how you know the orientation of those. And we'll just go ahead and put that one in. Then you will slide one of these, I don't know exactly what they're called, I just know where they go. And you'll slide that up on the intake side. We got this one here, which is intake side, so we're gonna just slide that assembly on there. Just like that. Then we're gonna use this piece right here. It'll go over the spark tubes, so you're gonna wanna make sure that's in the right orientation as well. We'll just put that on, just like that. And with this rocker here, you can see that little notch. It'll be facing the outside edge. So we'll go ahead and slide that one on. And you can see how Vtec's going to be locked in place. It's going to be pretty cool. This one right here is number 3, as you can see it right there. This one has to go in the center because that's where a valve cover bolt goes. So make sure to put this little collar looking thing here on. And then we'll slide this thing on there. And put 2 more bolts in. Alright, looking good so far. Now we put this piece here on. Okay. And then we put all these bolts back in. Line everything up. And there it is. And there it is. So the lost motion assemblies would typically be in this spot. You can kind of see in there. They'd be riding on top of that Vtec rocker. But now that Vtec's locked in, as you can see, everything's moving as one solid unit. So we'll be riding on just the Vtec cam lobe. Before I put this camshaft in, I like to put some Bestline high performance synthetic lubricant. This is a racing additive that you can put in your oil. But I like to put it directly on top of the camshaft. This will keep it from getting any kind of wear. It's really good stuff. Tons of reviews. If you want to see this stuff in action, type in Bestline engine treatment and watch some of the videos. You'll be probably just as blown away as I am. They're actually one of our sponsors. They have a new product coming out, which I will be testing and showing on this channel, so definitely stay tuned for that. Just wanted to say thank you to Bestline. If you guys want to get some of this for 20% off, there will be a coupon code and a link in the description, racingadditives.com. Use the code DGUY20 to get 20% off your entire order. So it's really good stuff. I'll let it speak for itself, but I'm going to pour some of that on there before we put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this taken apart. So yeah, all that will go in here. You can see there's tons of oil in there, which is perfectly fine. That'll be really nice and keep these lubed up. And yeah, it's pretty simple. At this point, we basically just put the cam in, make sure to get enough oil on it before you actually tighten everything down. And then there's a specific way you're supposed to tighten them down. But I'm basically just gonna put it all back on and lightly torque them down, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, now I'm gonna add some more best line over the top of the cam. All right, now that we got all that done, we're just gonna lay the Vtec rocker assembly over the top. Just kind of push it down by hand. Now, there is a specific bolt pattern you're gonna have to tighten them down in. And it's 20 Newton meters for the 12 millimeters in the specific order. And for the 10 millimeter bolts, it's only 12 Newton meters. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all that properly torqued. Alright, so the camera died, but I got it all torqued down, put the cam gear back on, lined it up top dead center, plenty of tension on the belt. Now nothing needs changed. You can use the Y8 or the Y7 cam gear, use factory timing marks. I prefer to get it at 16 degrees top dead center. Some will say 14 or 12. I prefer 16, it just works best for the D series. But everything's torqued, everything seems to be moving perfectly fine. So I spun it over by hand. Which if the GoPro hadn't died you would have seen. But yeah, so I'm going to throw the valve cover back on and make sure everything looks good still, and we can fire it up and see how she sounds. Alright, everything's together. I double checked, looked over everything, it all looks good. One of the important things to note is you will probably have to do valve lash. I like to run it on the looser side of things, that way it actually can start up. If not, it'll just have like a timing belt broke sound to it. So I like to run it all on the looser side. Also, another thing is you will have to get your timing mark set 16 degrees top dead center after it's got some heat in it. But I'm gonna go in and hopefully it starts right up. But I'm gonna go in and try to start it and see what we got. Started up. It's obviously running pretty rich. I mean, it is cold, but we can get all the tuning stuff done now that we've got the Vtec cam in. Give it a little rev, see if it's responsive. Well, it seems to be pretty responsive. Air fuels are, like I said, a little rich because of the cold temperature. You see that 10.39, but yeah, it's running. I had to turn the air idle control valve up before I tried starting it because I had a feeling, but I might have to lower it. We'll just see what happens, but it's not warmed up yet, but you can kind of hear it. It still needs some tuning done before it'll be right, but definitely sounds good, and it's running. It's not too ticky. Got the valve lash right on the first try. I just tightened it all. I loosened all the specs up, and it doesn't sound like it's ticking, except for the injectors. The injectors are very noisy and ticky. Overall, it sounds pretty good. I'll take it down the road and see how it drives. All right, so it's the next day. I'm gonna go and give it a little rip so you guys can see how much of a difference it made. Now, there's a few things to make note of. Valve lash will definitely need adjusted. If you get a no start issue where it cranks over and doesn't start, that would be the valves being too tight. I actually had that happen before on a previous Y7 I did this too. And yeah, I mean, I'd set it at 0.06 on the intake side and a 0.08 feeler gauge on the exhaust side, and it was perfect. And I just did that to this one, and everything's perfect. So It will need tuning and adjustment. I don't know if you can get away with doing this on a stock ECU with no tune or adjustment, but it definitely works on this. So I'm gonna have to get it all dialed in by Michael, but we'll go out, give it a rip, make sure the air fuel ratios when in boost are fine, and get a little data log of that. But I'm gonna go do that real quick. As you can see, it definitely has more power and less traction. I even lowered the tire pressure in my tires so I could try to hook up a little bit. The roads are dry and it just wouldn't. So definitely have to get some slicks here soon, and we're gonna hit the dyno soon. So if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button and drop a comment below. So far on the internet, I haven't seen anyone else do this swap. I've seen plenty of Y8s, Z6, B series, all with Vtec locked in. But I've never seen them put the Vtec cam in a non-Vtec with the rocker assembly and successfully pull it off. But yeah, that's the video. It's the D16y7 with a Y8 cam. A lot of people said it couldn't be done, but I proved in this video it can be, and the results speak for themselves. This thing has way less traction than it used to. But yeah, if you guys liked the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and check out some of my other content. We'll get some dyno videos coming soon, and then some track videos of it going down the track. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.